Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this little guy right here. The band is even better. It's a quick little card drafting game where each player is trying to get their band to be the best by scoring the most points in this world tour that's taking place. You have to go through an auditions phase and then a lineup phase, and whoever has the most highest total of points in their band at the end of all that is the winner. Let's get down to the table and I'll show you. So in the game of the band is even better, each of the black leader band leader cards are put down, 7 of them actually are put down on the table face up, and then a genre of band kind would be randomly attributed to each leader, and then depending on the number of people in the game, each player would get a red leader card. Now these leader cards, for example, match one of the leaders that are out on the table there, and that tells the person who owns that card who is their actual band leader, but it's kept secret from everybody else. The whole point of the game is to build your band to be the best band in the game. The number of cards that you get is different from each player count, but in a 5-player game, each person is dealt 10 cards from this deck. Now this deck is comprised of a number of different kinds of cards. There's first of all sound technicians, which, for example, this guy has a special ability where you can turn 2 negative numbers in your stack of cards into 2 positive numbers. There's this guy who can turn just 1 positive into a negative, as long as it's one of these 2 guys that it's being done to. There are also fans where they either give you just 5 points straight up for your band, or they allow you to switch one member of your band with another. So there's different kinds of fans there. Then there's also different kinds of musicians. For example, this guy is a percussionist. He goes with a hard rock band, but he's negative 8 points. Now it's important to note here that when you match the genre within the band, this number is doubled, even if it's a negative number. So this would be a good card if your leader is not a hard rock person. This would be a good card to play on one of your other opponent's bands. There are also, positive numbers, of course, and then the kind of genre, and that's how all of these different musicians are within the deck. Now the way in which the game is played is a drafting mechanic of sorts. Each player is going to have their 10 cards in their hand, and they're going to each turn, they're going to play 2 cards from their hand. They're going to play 1 card on one of the leaders that are out here on the board already, and then they're going to keep one of these cards face down on their leader card, the red leader card, to save for the end of the game. Now the ones that you keep are the ones that you're probably going to want to be playing on your leader, and the ones that you're playing face up out here are more than likely the ones that you're not wanting to help anybody else with. So you would look at this, and so my leader here is this guy right here, and we see that he is a rock blues guy. So I would look at my hand, and do I have any rock blues here? Yes, I do. Now this is important because if you match the kind, remember I said earlier that the total is doubled. So in a rock blues band, this guy is worth 20 points, not just 10. So I'm definitely going to be keeping one of those guys down for myself. Well, I'm going to play, let's see here, I'm going to take this punk rock guy and play it right here. That's a negative 10 for this guy, not just a negative 5. Then I'm going to take the rest of my cards and pass them to the player on my left. Then the person on my right is going to give me their set of cards, which will only have 8 cards in it because they have also played 2 cards out of it, and then we'll do the same thing again. So at the beginning of the second round, the board would kind of look like this, where 5 cards in a 5-player game, of course, have been played face up, and then each person has reserved one of their cards in their hand for their band to be added later on in the game. So we're going to go ahead and put this right here down. Now that matches, so this is going to be 14, and that might be revealing my hand a little bit, but I want to keep this one for later because some people might be playing a negative on my guy, and I want to change it to a positive later on. And so I would pass then my cards to the left, and the person from my right would give me their set of 6 cards that are left. Now, it's important to note here that a number of cards can be placed on a band that is only 3 or less higher than the lowest band. So right now, these 2 bands have no cards placed on them. And so if I wanted to play here, I could, and here I could. But if somebody else then wanted to play here or here, there being 3, they would not be able to until one of these 2, or both of them actually, had cards placed under them. So that then this could go from 3 to 4. And so play would continue this way until all of our initial 10 cards are gone, and all that's left are the cards that were placed underneath our red leader. So at the end of the auditions phase, which is where all of these cards would be placed face up, and then one of them would be placed face down in 5 audition rounds, so to speak, then the lineup phase begins, which is where we take the 5 cards that we have placed underneath our leader, each of the 5 audition rounds, and we're going to be playing them face down on these different bands wherever we want to do. There's no draft in the lineup round. You just play the 5 cards that you have in your hand where you want to play them, and everybody takes a turn doing that in the same turn order as the one before scoring. But before that lineup phase begins, one of these bands is going to be a major record label sellout, and they're going to get negative 15 points, and that goes to the best scoring band right now that can be visible. And right now, that is the Rock Blues team right here with 26 points. So they're going to get this card, and then the lineup phase begins where we take these cards and place them face down onto the different things. Now, the thing here is that you still have to adhere to that rule of having no more than 3 cards more than the one that has the fewest. So these both have 3, so the most that any band can have on it right now is 6. So right now, no more cards can be placed on either the Rock Blues band or the Hard Rock band before these 2 have at least 1 more placed on them. And then after the end, after everybody has played their 5 cards, we do a final scoring. So these are the cards that I would use to tabulate my score. So I would actually have a total here. These are all doubled because they're all Rock Blues, which matches the style of my leader. I do have to make sure that I have at least 1 drummer, because if I don't have at least 1 drummer, then it's a negative 10 points. Then I have to check to see if I have a female leader. I don't. So female leader gets you a bonus 10 points. But one thing that I do have is groovy, because I have 2 and no more than 2 drummers, so that gives me a bonus 5 points. Okay, so I have 89 minus 15, which is going to be 89, 84, 74. So my total, my Rock Blues band total is a 74, which then you would add 5 points to this, so my total is 79. And that's how you score a band in The Band Is Even Better. So that is The Band Is Even Better from ScriBab Artwork and Games. I think I pronounced that correctly. Maybe I didn't. The artwork is by Paulo Valierga. I probably messed that up too. I apologize if that is the case. The game actually plays very well. I actually enjoy the gameplay a lot. I love card drafting. That's one of my favorite mechanics in games. And so when I found out that this was a card drafting game, I was very pleasantly surprised. It's a little bit different than your regular run-of-the-mill card drafting games, where you're actually playing 1 card face up and then you're keeping 1 card face down in front of you to save to play till later, and then the rest of the cards are playing. So you're actually drafting 2 cards every turn instead of just 1. The idea, the theme, is actually one that is not really well tapped in our community thus far. So that was a serious plus, because our new audio guy Derek and I were just talking about how there seemed to be a lack of building a band type themes or musically themed games. So that was a cool, refreshing little thing that's added onto it. At the same time, though, I think the artwork is a little over the top. The girls, while they are not necessarily scantily clad, they are very tightly clothed and doesn't leave a whole lot to the imagination, and that's an unfortunate thing. I really have to say that right now, because I actually I did not play this game with my family, and I think it's a game that my family will enjoy, but simply because of the racy artwork, I steered away from that. Now, that being said, the game does play very well, and one of my only drawbacks from the game is the artwork. I think if we put a little bit more family-friendly artwork on it, and I know I'm probably going to catch a lot of flack for that, but that's just this is my review of the game, so that's my opinion of it. I wish the artwork had been done a little bit more tastefully, actually a lot more tastefully than it was. But that aside, the game is very good in that it is a very fast, pleasant card drafting game that can be taken care of in about half an hour. So it makes it a very light filler game that has a not very widely used theme attached to it that does work. So there is a lot of positives here. My one negative is the artwork, and in my case it's a huge negative. I'm not going to keep the game because of it. But if this game were to get a reskin, I would probably give it a second go just because of that. Now, having said all of that, I did have some of the people that I played the game with say that they did enjoy the artwork. So again, there's two sides to every coin. I didn't like the artwork. Some of the people that I played it with did, while some did agree with me that the artwork was a little bit over the top. So again, enough is enough about the artwork. You get what I'm trying to say. The game itself is pleasant, fun, light, easy, and thematic. So all of that, I'll give it one thumb up, but for the game quality, but I'm going to give it no thumbs up at all for family friendliness. And again, that's my opinion, but that and about 50 cents will get you a cup of coffee somewhere. Maybe. Definitely not Starbucks. But hey, we'll see you on the flip side, folks.